Like, they're looking at me, but I can't see them because it's dark and there's a flashlight in my face. So they see me like a deer in headlights, but I don't see them, but I know it's the Taliban because there's Taliban checkpoints like every 30 minutes. Who's the driver is like trying to fix the tire or whatever the heck is wrong. And the Taliban has the flashlight, and there, I could tell there's maybe like 7 Taliban staring at me. They're all just against the window like this, but I can't see them too well because I'm being blinded with that flashlight. 45 seconds of them just on the window, because you know, it's a super old car, so it has one of those crank windows. I'm like, hey, give me the flashlight. My God, it's like this. Oh no. And the Taliban is like this. Every time my hijab would fall down, all the men are like this. It's like literally like seeing boobs. So we were talking about decorum. I'm like, it's decorum. You don't flash a light in a lady's face. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm talking about the meeting I had with the president in Afghanistan. On Instagram, follow me at Maryjane's World Tour. It's my new Instagram. This whole video ties into why I even have a new Instagram. Really. But yeah, I posted a picture of myself with the Taliban on my old Instagram in Afghanistan. And then Instagram sent me a message saying that I was promoting hate groups and that they deleted my account. So I made a new one, which is Maryjane's World Tour. You can follow me at Maryjane's World Tour, link down below. But yeah, that's the whole reason I even got a call. I'll get into all that stuff. I'm gonna set a timer in this video. And if you're watching this video, that means I already went to Afghanistan and came back. I only went for 2 days because it was just for that meeting and I didn't really have the time. But I will be going back to Afghanistan for the 4th time again in September. But I went for a meeting and I already went and came back if you're seeing this video. So yeah, stay tuned for the videos I had in Afghanistan. They're still being approved. But yeah, let's get into all of that. I'll be talking about Afghanistan. I'll be talking about my some stories about what happened to me there and the whole how everything unfolded. So yeah, keep on watching. Oh yeah, before we get into the video, guys, notice you like my hair? Funny. Okay, yeah, I also wanted to mention that. So in yesterday's video, I told you guys that a girl reached out to me here in Italy and she has a farm. And she was like, I know how much you love honey. You use it on your face, you use it on your hair. I literally mix honey with distilled water and put it on my hair. And I did that yesterday. And the honey is gone. I only have 1 bottle left. Yeah, this one. But yeah, I use honey on everything. I mix it with water, use it as a hair mask. I use it on my eyebrows to moisturize them. I use honey on everything, and but good honey is important. That's the whole key. You don't just want to pick up any honey. You don't want to go to the grocery store and like pick up honey and those, if honey comes in plastic, no. You want honey in a glass. You want honey to be from a farm. Anyways, the girl reached out to me. She's like, I have a local farm here in Napoli. It's my parents, and I can give you some honey. So I'll link her store down below. If you come to Napoli, you should go get her honey. She has amazing honey, and I used it on my hair last night. I just mix it with distilled water, just because it's too thick to just put in your hair. I just mix it so it's thinner, and I put it on my hair. Put a shower cap on, leave it on overnight, but be careful, be careful. And my hair came out like so soft. So she hit me up and she was like, I can give you some more honey if you want to do a giveaway. So if you guys, I am going to do a giveaway for this honey from this lady here in Napoli. So if you saw, you will get this sized jar because she gave me a bunch of these sized jars, which is maybe 6 inches, little bottle like this. But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna give away a jar to everyone who signs up for my postcard program today, instead of like doing another kind of giveaway where you guys have to do other stuff. But if you want to get a jar of this honey here from Napoli, from the local farm, I'll link her store down below. She's the sweetest woman ever. You can just sign up for my postcard program today. My postcard program is where I send you guys postcards from my travels around the world, and I put little motivational messages on them. They're so cute. So you'll get 25 different postcards from 25 different locations from me personally. You can sign up in the link down below. I'll put the link. And if you sign up today, you're gonna get also a jar of the honey from the local honey from here in Italy. It's the best. It's such good honey. It's also good for medicinal reasons, but I've been using it on my hair. I used it on my hair last night. But be careful if you use it on your hair. It will seep down your, like honey was all down here and all down here. So be careful, put towels down. Make sure you know what you're doing, because it's sticky. But when I tell you, when you wash that honey out in the shower, bro, hair like silk. But you can't use crap honey. So anyways, yeah, sign up today for my postcard program. Everyone who signs up today, I will send you a bottle. Okay, so just to bring you up to speed. So back in September of last year, of 2022, I went to Afghanistan. It was super impromptu. I'm on a mission to visit every country in the world, and I was in Dubai. And last year I was in Dubai. I kind of live in Dubai, kind of. And so I was scrolling through YouTube and I saw a video of somebody in Afghanistan. And I was like, wait, when am I gonna go to Afghanistan? I gotta go to Afghanistan, it's a country, and I'm on a mission to visit every country in the world. So I was like, so I started doing research, and it said that the only place you can go to Afghanistan from is Dubai or Pakistan. And I was like, I'm already in Dubai. So I'm like, wait a minute. So I literally start looking up, how can you get to Afghanistan? And it was like, you can only fly from Dubai. You gotta get a visa in Dubai or in Pakistan. And then, so yeah, I was like, oh, that's perfect. So I emailed all these tour companies, and they're all like, sorry, we're not doing any more tours because the Taliban took over Afghanistan. So we canceled all the tours, like all the official tours through Afghanistan. I was like, but this was a blessing in disguise, because like I ended up roguing it, going by myself. Like imagine I went with a tour group, that would have had a completely different experience for me. The experience that made it for me was like I went and did this by myself. So anyways, it was crazy. The next day I'm scrolling through Instagram and I see that this guy's in Afghanistan, and I hit him up and I'm like, how are you in Afghanistan? He's also a traveler, a travel blogger. And he's like, here's the number of the guy I went with. So he gives me the number. I reach out to the guy. I'm like, hey, I'm trying to go to Afghanistan. Can you help me? He was like, yeah, totally. I'm gonna give you a number of somebody else, call them and they'll come and they'll help you, because they live in person with you in Afghanistan. You can't just roam around free. He's like, the guy who's gonna be your local like you've gotta be with a local. He's like, he's gonna meet you at the airport, boom, boom, boom. It literally happened that quickly. So I'm like, I was so excited. And I am a person who trusts my instincts. I will jump off of a bridge off my instincts. Like, meaning I trust my instincts so deeply, because I just feel like I just have the best instincts from a young age. I got instincts, man, because I don't know, I'm just one of those people. Discernment. So I always had a good feeling about Afghanistan. I knew there was more to the story, and I feel like they were bullied, and I felt like all the hate wasn't true, and I felt like it was a big lie. And I always think popular opinions are wrong. I always think whatever is wildly popular is false. So I tend to do the opposite of whatever everybody else is doing. That's just like my thing in life. So like if everybody likes a movie, I'm not gonna like that movie. I'm not going to see the Barbie movie because everybody likes it. And I'm just like, I back off with things everybody likes and wildly opinions that are popular, if that makes sense. So anyways, I knew there was more to the story. I trusted Afghanistan. I knew that they were probably misunderstood. I wanted to go find out for myself. So I get on the plane, and then literally there was only 5 other people on the plane with me, and they were all staring at me, and they're like, what are you doing here? Are you in the UN? Everyone's like, are you in the UN? Everybody else was in the UN. And I was like, no, I'm just touring Afghanistan. And there's like 50-year-old women looking at me like, oh my goodness, what? Let me see if I have the business card. The sweetest guy, I don't know if I have it in here. I definitely have it. But the sweetest guy gave me his business card, and he was like, please email me. I don't know if I have it with me, but he was like, because I've been going to Afghanistan for 25 years, he said. I have it! I'm gonna cry. So I'm gonna cover his name. But as you can see, he's from the United Nations. And you could see that it says Kabul. He's stationed in Kabul. He's from the United Nations. He gave me his business card. Sweet. Did I cover his name? Yeah. You could see it says missions. I'm hoping this is showing. It says United Nations Assistance Mission in Afghanistan. And I'm covering his name. But literally, he was a 60-year-old man, and he said, Miss, I've been going to Afghanistan with the UN. He was in the UN, he said, for over 30 years. And he said, I've never stepped one of my toes in Afghanistan. He said, as soon as we land in Kabul, there's a UN section, and then there's like the real entrance to Afghanistan and the UN section. So all the foreigners go, it's like paradise. You wouldn't even believe it's Afghanistan. Like the UN created their own like utopia in Afghanistan that is not, it's kind of unfair because like the UN is living in this beautiful community that none of the Afghans are allowed in, and they never enter real Afghanistan. So it's like they're living in this utopia. It's beautiful. Like it's completely opposite real Afghanistan. And so as soon as you get to the airport, if you're in the UN, you literally even have your own arrivals. So everyone, when the plane landed, everyone was like, UN, pointing this way. And I'm like, no, I'm going to Afghanistan. The Afghans are looking at me like, the UN's this way. I'm like, I'm not in the UN. They're like, so anyways, that guy who gave me his business card said, man, you are the bravest person I ever met. I've been going to Afghanistan for 30 years, and I'm too afraid to go inside real Afghanistan because the UN, they have it's like their own heaven that's protected bubble inside of Afghanistan, and they don't actually step their foot inside of real Afghanistan, real arrivals. So I go to real arrivals, I enter Afghanistan, and they're all just staring at me like everyone's in disbelief. They're like, ma'am, what are you doing here? I'm like, I'm here to tour. And I remember my first encounter with the Taliban, they were just sitting in a big group. So it was like, as soon as you land, you go through immigration, and then you have to get your bags, and then your bags have to go through a conveyor belt to be checked. And I'm waiting for my bags at the conveyor belt, which is super slow. Everything in Afghanistan is outdated. They don't get new stuff to the country. So everything's like made in the 30s. So everything's old. They don't have money for new stuff. They don't get shipments of new stuff from around the world. Think about that. That country has no like trading, you know? So everything's like from the 30s. And so I'm just sitting there waiting maybe 15 minutes for my bags to come through the conveyor belt. And I see the Taliban for the first time, and they're all staring at me, of course. There's like 3 sitting with their AK-47 guns, and 3 standing, because there's always top Taliban, and then they're like minions. So the top Taliban are always sitting with their like minions surrounding them. So they all had AK-47s, they're all staring at me with like, and they all took, I posted this in my video, they all took, like when America fled Afghanistan, the Taliban took all the American clothes. So all the Taliban wear American military clothes as almost like a middle finger, like because America got out there with the quickness. America dipped when the Taliban took over, and they left tons and tons and tons and tons of military clothes, and now the Taliban wears them. It's almost like a middle finger. So they're all wearing like camo American. I even saw like American flags, but it's like a middle finger to, you know what I mean? It's like a sign of disrespect. And they're the only ones who can wear it. So they're just sitting there in like the American camo with their guns and just looking at me like, no real expression on their face, but just kind of like, just kind of reading me. And I'm just like that. And they're like, there's no fear in her face. And they're like, they all thought I was way younger than I was. I was telling everybody that I was 26. And they were just like, they all thought I was way younger than that. But even they thought for my age, they couldn't believe it. They're like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, I'm here to tour Afghanistan. And they're just like, and they kept saying something to me. And I asked my local guide. He was like, they're saying, God bless you, God bless you, God bless you. Like everyone kept saying, God bless you, but in Farsi. And so they just kept reassuring me. They're like, Miss, we just want to let you know you are safe here. Like, we don't know how much we have to say that you're safe, and you're so welcome. And everyone invited me to see their wife. Like, that's like the biggest sign of respect, because to be invited, like the biggest sign of like gratitude an Afghan can give you is to invite you to their house for dinner, because dinner is scarce in Afghanistan. It's like, if someone's sharing their food and feeding you, then that's a big deal. It's like a biggest way to say like you're welcome and you're loved and everything. So almost every Taliban invited me to their wife. Like, you want to come to my house? My wife will cook for you. Sweetest people. And like, as soon as I saw I was smiling and they saw no fear in my eyes, they were like, oh my goodness. And like, I explained this before, but like, you know how like a horse will buck you off? I saw somebody get bucked off of a horse before in Egypt. Or like a snake will bite you if they smell fear. Like, a lot of people feel you out first. They're like, where are you coming from? And that's how they react to you. So like, when I'm traveling, like I'm a local. And I had that same look on me in Afghanistan, which really surprised the Afghans. And they were just like, whoa, like, what? Everyone hates us. How could you be here? And then at the same time, be cool. And a guy actually just got taken, I think. An American young boy went to Afghanistan, and I think the Taliban detained him. I'm not sure what the update is on that. But he came with he was a YouTuber, he came with his cameras and stuff, and he was lying and saying a lot of stuff, lies about the Taliban and all that. And like, that's what I'm saying. Like, what I've noticed as somebody who travels full time, 7 years, people play off you. People want to feel you out first sometimes if you're the tourist. They're reading you. They're like, let me figure this person out. Let me see where they're coming from. So when they could see I was so relaxed and I was so chill and I trusted them, they just couldn't believe it. They could not believe it. So anyways, that was my story of me visiting. But anyways, so I was talking about it on my Instagram, and then I posted myself with the Taliban, and I said that America is way more dangerous than Afghanistan, mile for mile, pound for pound, square inch by square inch. America is way more dangerous. But I was like, it's so interesting how if you tell people you're going to America, they're not like, be safe. Well, they might be. Actually, these days they might. All the shootings and all the killings, I think every single day in Philly there's been a killing, multiple killings every single day this year in Philly, and that's just one city. And I was saying how there's nowhere in Afghanistan where they're like, careful, you might get killed there. Nowhere. And I was like, I even went to Kandahar. Kandahar is known as like the most dangerous part of Afghanistan. I've been to Herat, I've been to Kandahar, I've been to Bamyan, I went to Mazar Sharif. I've been all through Afghanistan, okay? Miss Girl, I didn't just go to Kabul. But anyways, I've been all around that country and I'll keep going back. And there was no like, this is worth it. You know what I mean? Even in the pitch black, like I remember we had a 14-hour drive. We had a 14-hour drive from Kabul to Mazar Sharif. And our car kept breaking down because, like I said, everything in Afghanistan is old. I got sick both times I went to Afghanistan, like wheezing coughs where I couldn't even breathe because there's just dust on everything. When I got into my hotel room and sat down, like a plume of dust came because no one goes to the hotels. So I was probably the first person in that hotel room, you know, and like everything's old. They don't get trading, like they don't get shipments from, you know, most countries are constantly getting trading from other countries, you know, and updating their stuff. Afghanistan has no way, no one does any business with them. So everything there is old, including the cars. So the cars don't run good at all. And there's this thick smell of gas in the air, which is really sad because the cars are really old and really bad. But what are they supposed to do? No one's sending any Teslas to Afghanistan. Plus they don't have the money to afford it. The average Afghan makes about $20 a year. So anyways, yeah, the car kept breaking down. So often the car would break down and there's no street lights. Well, there's street lights in some cities, but most cities don't have street lights. So it was pitch black at this point. Pitch black. We're driving in the complete dark and all you hear is bang, 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 bang. And we're just pulled over. It's just me, a female, my guide and his brother. That's it. And all I see, I'm sitting in the back. All I see is this flashlight and you hear the click, like the flashlight was so loud and so big and it bangs up against my window and it's the Taliban and they're looking at me, but I can't see them because it's dark and there's a flashlight in my face. So they see me like a deer in headlights, but I don't see them, but I know it's the Taliban because there's Taliban checkpoints like every 30 minutes on the road. The Taliban will pull you over, check IDs, check everything out, and then they'll give you the green light or the red light. So I know it was the Taliban because we had been through like 100 checkpoints already, but at this point it was dark. And it was so funny watching all their eyes because every time they would see me, they'd be like, it would be like seeing like, you know, a snow leopard. You know, snow leopards are like the least seen animals on the planet. No one ever really gets to see them. I'm like a snow leopard in Afghanistan. You can see it in the video too. I always post of me walking around Kabul. Everyone's reaction to me is like, so the Taliban is just like looking at me like, and I literally, so he's shining the light in my face. This is a core memory for me. He's shining the light in my face like this. So I'm just sitting in the back of this car. My guide is sitting in the front seat. His brother, who's the driver, is like trying to fix the tire or whatever the heck is wrong. And the Taliban has the flashlight and I could tell there's maybe like 7 Taliban staring at me. They're all just against the window like this, but I can't see them too well because I'm being blinded with that flashlight. This is a core memory. So I literally, after about 45 seconds of them just like this against the window staring at me, I go like this and I smack the window, like here's the window. I'm like this, like put your flashlight down. I'm like, you're blinding me. I'm like, don't listen. I'm like, can we roll down the window? So my guide was always so scared. I love him to death, Maryjane. I love that man with like my whole heart. He's the sweetest guy, but he was even scared for me sometimes. And I roll down the window because you know, it's a super old car, so it has one of those crank windows. I'm like, hey, give me the flashlight. I take the flashlight. I shine it back at them and all you see is all these Taliban. I'm like, listen, stop doing that. I'm like, I know I'm random. I know you have a lot of questions, but don't just shine a flashlight in my face late at night and stare at me like that. If you have questions, ask them, but don't just stare at me. You're gonna blind me and like, don't just stare at me like that. It's impolite. And literally my guide is like this. Oh no. And the Taliban is like this. They just stunned because they don't see females like being like dominant, you know what I mean? And like the fact that I'm even so confident to speak to them like this, their minds were just like shattered. So anyways, we were joking in the car, me and my guide, and I was like asking him a lot of questions because my hijab kept falling down, and he said they never see women's hair. Seeing women's hair is like seeing boobs to Afghan men because they never see women's bodies ever. Women in Afghanistan are covered head to toe. So imagine your entire life you've never seen women's body or hair. So all the time my hijab kept falling down. My guide would constantly say, MJ, hijab, please. MJ, hijab, please. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not used to wearing this. Every time my hijab would fall down, all the men are like this. It's like literally like seeing boobs. So we were laughing in the car, me and my guide, and I was like, what would happen if like they saw legs? He was like, I think their brain would explode. He's like, all of our brains would explode. We've never seen women's body parts in our lives. We've only seen their eyes besides our wives and our daughters, but wives' body. So yeah, their brains would explode, and we were just joking. So anyways, but that was like a core memory, like me yelling at the Taliban, but not really yelling. And they all were just like, man, you've changed my life. Like, he's like, you've made me a better person. Like, you're brave enough to come here and you're giving instructions to the Taliban. Like, Maryjane. And I always tell people, they're like, oh, you get hate or whatever. How do you feel about your haters? I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, you don't know who you're messing with. I'm not afraid of anybody, and I really mean that. I'm not afraid of anybody or anything. I'm really, really, really not afraid of anybody or anything. So bring it. Bring what you got. Don't care. Even the Taliban, I don't care. People are people. You can't really do anything to me. I'm not afraid of you or anybody. Any hater, anybody. You know, I've been to Afghanistan with the Taliban and we're cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you don't know what I've been through, and you don't know, you know what I'm saying? And I lived a life, you know, that most people haven't. I'm not afraid of you or anybody. Any hater out there, don't care. You don't know who you're messing with. So try somebody else, or keep trying me. Do your best, do your worst. But anyways, I digress. Yeah, they just started cracking up laughing. It's pitch black. We're in Kandahar, which is like the most dangerous. It just means that like a lot of the rogue Taliban are out there, because there's still different levels of Taliban. Like, they're not all the same. And anyways, so I'm literally out there in pitch black, shining a flashlight at Taliban, yelling at them, talking about decorum. I'm like, it's decorum. You don't flash a light in a lady's face. It's not how you treat a lady. And they're like, okay, ma'am, we're so sorry. Is everything okay? They're like, you have a place to eat tonight? Are you hungry? You can come after we pray. Because that's another thing, they have to pray. Like, at certain times of the day, they have to all go pray. So they're like, we're about to do prayer, but after prayer, do you want to come to our house and have dinner with our wives? And I was like, no, I'm okay. I'm really tired. I just want to get back to my hotel. So those are just some of my experiences in Afghanistan. I love the country. So Maryjane, my friend, I have so many friends in Afghanistan now, but one of my friends hit me up, and he was like, you're on the news. This was like 2 weeks ago. He's like, MJ, you're all over the news here in Afghanistan. And he sent me pictures of me on the news. I was like all over the news in Afghanistan. They were talking about how Instagram deleted my story, deleted my account for posting them. And he's like, you're all over the news. And he's like, the leader here in Kabul, he wants to meet with you. He wants to talk with you. And he's like, would you mind come talking to him? But you don't really have to put this on the internet. He just wants to talk to you. And I'm like, yeah, of course. So I'll come back. So I did. I had a meeting with him, the head leader of Kabul, sweetest guy ever. He was scared to stand next to me because I wanted a picture with him, but he was afraid to stand next to me. just because like it's out of respect. It's like if a man's, for them, a lot of them believe like if a woman is not with her husband, then it's like like it's like a sign of respect. Like, I don't want to stand next to you, I don't want to make you feel safe, type of thing. So like I totally got it, but he was the sweet as pie. And I'm big on eyes. I'm huge on eyes. Huge. To me, eyes are everything. They're the window to the soul. I usually judge people, and by looking in their eyes, you can tell a lot by looking in somebody's eyes. A lot. Like my man, when I first saw him, I melted. I tell you, I'm like, my whole being melted, because his eyes, to me, like even now, they'll make me like pass out. He's got the most beautiful eyes I've ever seen in my life. But it's not just like, oh, they're a pretty color. Like literally you can see how beautiful he is in his eyes, and how beautiful his soul is in his eyes. Like I can't even look at him too long. I tell him that all the time. But eyes are the window to the soul. I'm a huge believer in that. I judge people right away by looking straight into their eyes. And I was looking at every Talib's eyes when I was in Afghanistan. And when I tell you, they have the souls of children. They're just the sweetest, childlike, sweetest people ever. And they're like, I don't want to be disrespectful, but I almost told, because Maryjane, my friend, who was my god, he's now my great friend, he's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they've never left Afghanistan. He's like, you've been to 125 countries. He's like, so you have a good judge of Afghanistan because you have so much to measure it up to, and you meet so many people from all over the world. And he was like, how do we measure up to the rest of the world? And I said, you're the sweetest, most sincere people probably I've ever met. And he's like, how do you think about the Talibs? And I was just like, when I look in their eyes, they look like they have children-like souls. I hope I'm making sense. I feel like I'm looking at a child that's almost scared, that's like cosplaying this big macho Taliban. Like it's like a costume, and they're playing their part because they have to. But when you look in their eyes, you could just see they're like children, and they're just kind of scared and clueless and just doing what they know what to do. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. They're just the sweetest people doing what they know is best, what they were taught was best. And I'll tell you this right now, they're not marching around killing people. They're just not. There's good and bad people in every race, in every group. But I went to Afghanistan 3 times, and I didn't see anybody killing anybody. I saw people treating women beautifully, and I saw lots of kind people and met with them. And I had a meeting with the president about change. He wanted to know what can they do to get their opinion changed from the world and diminish the lies. They're like, what can we do about the lies that people are saying about us? And I said, listen to me. I'm somebody who gets lied on too all the time. There's nothing you can do about the lies. You're gonna have to chalk it up to this world. And don't try and defend yourself. Don't try and say, no, we're not these people. Why would you just lie on us like that and say this stuff when it's not true? Like, ignore that. I'm like, I think change is gonna come to Afghanistan. And I said, just keep having us tourists come and share our experiences. I said, I think that's what the road is. Like, just keep having tourists come and share their experiences, because I'm not the only tourist who's gone. I'm not the only YouTuber who's gone and had a beautiful experience. And I said, slowly but surely, because Japan and Vietnam were hated. I said, America hated Japan at one point. Literally almost ended the country, and same with Vietnam. And I was like, now Americans love Vietnam and Japan, and they're beautiful travel destinations. And that's Afghanistan's goal. They want to be a travel destination. They want people to come and travel there and enjoy Afghanistan badly. They want that. So I highly, if you're brave, if you're a traveler, I would say if you're a traveler, not cold turkey. If you're not a traveler, don't go to Afghanistan. If you're already a traveler, go to Afghanistan. I already sent one of my friends. My friends went because of me. He was sending me pictures while he was there. And he loved solely because of me. He literally called me like, Mary Jane, this trip changed my life. I love it here. But if Japan didn't exist, it wasn't awesome, Afghanistan would be my favorite country. So it's number 2. But anyways, I just want to talk about my boo, my Afghanistan. The country took my heart, okay? I could cry and write a million love songs about Afghanistan. I really could. But they asked me to stay. I was dying because I'm like, I love Afghanistan, I love Afghanistan. So literally my guide's like, so can I ask you a question, Maryjane? I don't even like to call him my guide, he's my friend. You know, if you watch my Afghanistan videos, he's like, so you say you love all of this about how much you love Afghanistan. He's like, would you stay here for 6 months and teach the kids English? I'm like, no. No. Like, MJ can only do about a week in Afghanistan. Even after a week, I needed like 3. I remember leaving Afghanistan for the first time. I went to Dubai directly. And like, I recovered. I went to cryotherapy. I was getting a massage every day. Like, I had to recover from Afghanistan. Oh my gosh, it's not for the faint of heart. That's why I say if you are already a traveler, don't go cold turkey. Don't do that.